The Pith instructions for the stages of the practice sessions of the Khrid system of Bon Dzogchen Great Completion Meditation. Introduction. The levels of Khrid practice according to the commentary. The universal ground or basis. Dzogchen means Great Completion Meditation. The name is derived from the premise that this domain of practice is designed to complete the development of Buddhahood. A fundamental assumption of Dzogchen Great Completion Meditation is that ultimate reality exists within the mind stream of each and every sentient being, whether we realize this or not. This innate Buddha nature, in Bon called Dharma Dhatu, is the ground or basis of being. This inner nature has two inseparable dimensions: universal ground and awakened awareness, Rigpa. For individuals who have realized the ultimate condition of their mind, or as the Khrid commentary says, having come face to face with the real nature of the mind, the direct experience of awakened awareness is changeless, boundless. It is a changeless, boundless field of bright, intense, wakeful awareness that is always right there, like the dawning of the morning sun in a cloudless sky. Awakened awareness is the knowing aspect of the basis. It is sometimes called knowing awareness, Shes Rig. But this knowing is free of all subject-object duality and all conceptual knowing. The direct experience of universal ground is of a vast, boundless expanse of empty awareness space. In this vast expanse, everything arises as spontaneously present in an unconditioned way, free of all conceptualization, free of grasping, without a reference point, empty of self-existent nature, and primordially pure. The universal ground is the base of both samsara and nirvana, and is endowed with the dynamic aspect of awakened awareness. This dynamic, expressive aspect of awareness is referred to as the liveliness of primordial wisdom. In the basis, primordial wisdom resides. Primordial wisdom's liveliness is such that primordial wisdom is continuously expressing itself to itself and knowing itself through its own expressions. In this sense, emptiness and appearance are an inseparable non-dual pair. The continuous display of empty appearance, like dreams or illusions, is the natural state of awakened mind itself. The entire magical display of the seemingly existing world, moment by moment, is none other than the lively expression of primordial wisdom. Primordial wisdom is said to have enlightened intention, such that its lively expression of appearance in every moment is the intention for the purpose of expressing an illusory display for the benefit of realization, that is, the wisdom aspect of intention, and every moment expressing an illusory display to serve the purpose of compassion, that is, the compassion component of intention. From the perspective of ultimate truth, wisdom and compassion are an inseparable pair, that is, two sides of the same lively expressive energy of primordial wisdom. Furthermore, primordial wisdom has its own innate intelligence. With respect to meditation practice, this means that the path shows itself to itself by itself. The meditator does not awaken, Rather, through skillful practice, the meditator establishes just the right conditions for awakening to express itself to itself, by itself, and then to develop that awakening into the complete realization of primordial wisdom and Buddhahood. The ordinary mind. In Dzogchen, the fundamental difference between the ordinary mind, sems, and the real nature of the mind, or awakened mind itself, sems nyid, is whether or not the individual has recognized awakened awareness in his or her mind stream. Having such recognition is called recognizing awakened awareness. Not having ever recognized awakened awareness is called non-awareness. Sentient beings who have never realized awakened awareness are said to be deluded. Those who fail to recognize awakened awareness and the basis, the universal ground just as it is, develop a mind that grasps after what occurs. Samsaric existence begins with a non-recognition of the basis. From that, subject-object duality develops. From that, the subject engages objects, ordinary mental content. In Dzogchen, this kind of mental engagement based on subject-object duality is called accepting and rejecting. In other words, every instant the ordinary dualistic mind moves towards whatever occurs in the mind to process that event further, acceptance, or moves away, rejection, to stop further processing. That action of mind fixes the mental event as a karmic memory trace. Patterns of grasping more and more become organized around self-experience and self-grasping. The universal ground, from the perspective of relative reality, then becomes the storehouse or consciousness of the universal ground, a vast depository of habitual karmic tendencies. These karmic traces actively ripen over time, first occurring as spontaneous, largely negative states of mind. As karmic traces gain greater strength, they eventually affect everyday behavior, and then the way events seem to unfold as fortunate or unfortunate circumstances. The outcome of this process over time is twofold. First is the development of the ordinary conceptual mind. An incessant stream of conceptual thought progressively clouds over the natural state of the mind, like layers and layers of dark clouds obscuring the sun. Second is the development of a wide range of afflictive emotional states. While the range of ordinary negative emotional states is vast, sometimes they are classified into the three poisons: desire, hatred, and non-awareness, and sometimes into the five poisons, those three, plus envy and pride. The overall result of the process of karmic unfolding, starting with non-recognition of awakened awareness, is the creation of the entire display of cyclical samsaric existence in every moment. The creation of an ordinary mind clouded by conceptual thought and emotion and self-grasping, and the strong shift of states of mind and behavior in the direction of impure relative to pure states of mind and behavior. From the perspective of Dzogchen, the pure, enlightened intention of ultimate reality has become thoroughly hidden or concealed for those sentient beings caught up in samsara. The gateway. Ordinary sentient beings have become so caught up in everyday samsaric existence that most have completely lost sight of their fundamental nature and the natural state of their mind. In Dzogchen, the gateway to reversing the process of cyclic existence is through the teachings. Having the opportunity to be born in a human body with reasonable health, intact mental faculties, and reasonable intelligence is considered a precious opportunity. To be born at a time in history and a geographic location where genuine teachings are available is considered a rare and precious opportunity. Encountering a teacher who embodies the teachings that show the way back to ultimate reality is considered a very rare opportunity. In the commentary, the Lama is the gateway to the teachings. Getting the right conditions to come in contact with the right teacher and teaching is a matter of the following: the kindness of the Lama, the karmic connection between the Lama and student, having the right conditions in this life to be open to receiving the teachings, and the student having sufficient belief to utilize the teachings as a path of practice. The critical turning point for the potential student is receiving the teachings from a qualified Lama. The commentary is clear about who best qualifies. The best qualities of a teacher are: 1. All teachings come from the source, the basis, or universal ground. 2. The teacher knows how to teach in a way that the student has direct and decisive realization of awakened awareness, and in a way that actually liberates the mind stream of the student. 3. The teacher has expertise in using the right skillful means matched to the student's capacity. 4. The teacher never loses the view, meditation, and conduct associated with ultimate reality and manifests all the positive qualities of having completed the path. And 5. The teacher manifests inexhaustible compassion, serving the welfare of all sentient beings. Such a teacher is said to embody the vital essence of all the precious teachings that open the gateway to complete Buddhahood. Furthermore, the Lama, as the embodiment of the ultimate reality, has the capacity to convey influence. Through gift ways of influence, the Lama can directly influence the unfolding mind stream of the student in several respects. First, the gift ways of influence can clear away obscurations and negative states of mind in the student and activate positive qualities. Over time, this influence helps to shift the student's unfolding mind stream in the direction of more positive, less negative states, or more pure, less impure states. The overall effect over time is that the student develops the qualities of mind that support the development of the teachings. This process is called building the vessel. Second, the Lama conveys the view regarding the real nature of the mind, and through the gift ways of influence activates the student's potential to realize the basis. In Dzogchen, the way the view of ultimate reality is conveyed is crucial to the realization of ultimate reality. The Lama introduces or points out the real nature of the student's mind to him or her. The commentary says, like pointing a finger in such a way that the student comes face to face with the real nature of his or her mind. From the perspective of gift ways of influence, the view of ultimate reality is brought directly into the mind stream of the student through the Lama's pointing out advice. Since that view has been concealed by the layers of clouds and obscurations characterizing the ordinary mind of the student, the pointing out advice opens a window of opportunity for the student to begin the process of looking into the mind to realize its true nature. In Dzogchen, however, there are many types of skillful means used for pointing out. In this, a Khrid system, for example, the pointing out instructions are described in the commentary as cutting to the root and acting like a lightning bolt. The skillful means used to develop the meditation practice after the view has been pointed out are described in the commentary as very intense because it directly leads to awakening. Moreover, the student, once receiving these precious teachings, is expected to engage in a single-minded pursuit of awakened awareness. Once having received the precious pointing out instructions, the student has the responsibility to put them into practice. In fact, gift waves of influence from the Lama only have an effect on the student's mind stream if the student, one, puts the intention into making a request for the gift waves, and two, matches the gift received with putting it into practice. As the student begins to open the gateway, he or she is expected to match the preciousness of the gift of the teachings with the development of trust, then admiration, then respect, and then diligence in the practice. Trust is the cornerstone of developing all positive qualities of mind in the process of building the vessel. The opposite of trust is fear on the emotional level and doubt on the cognitive level. Without sufficient trust, the process of spiritual development never begins. Admiration comes from appreciating more and more all the positive qualities embodied by the Lama. In wanting to become more and more like the Lama, the student's admiration develops into respect. Respect pertains to behavior and conduct. The best way to honor a teacher and his teachings is to manifest them as behavior and conduct toward the Lama specifically and towards all beings in general. Respect develops into diligence. That is, a single-minded pursuit of spiritual development combined with a progressive letting go of everyday preoccupations and attachments. According to the commentary, diligence ripens into aspiration. Aspiration entails aspiring to embody the practice as much as possible to serve the welfare of others. At this point, aspiration comes spontaneously. Overall, the student is engaged in building or becoming the vessel in such a way that his or her mind stream more and more approximates the manifestations of the teachings. While trust, admiration, respect, and diligence are manifest at all levels of practice, there is a larger process of development. Both the root text and the commentary describe the stages in the process of developing the student's mind stream. Hearing the teachings, listening to them accurately, reflecting on the teachings, coming to understand them, putting them into practice by developing the appropriate meditation experiences, developing the meditation until the view is integrated into the student's mind stream, assessing the signs of progress that appear during meditation, coming to a decisive determination about what has been pointed out about the real nature of the mind, mastering the realization in some depth and integrating it into one's mind stream, bringing the realization into the sphere of ultimate reality as unceasing, and manifesting the realization as inexhaustible conduct for the welfare of sentient beings. The path. According to the commentary, there are three broad levels of practice in the Khrid system of Dzogchen. 1. Bringing the unripened mind stream to ripening, building or becoming the vessel. 2. Bringing the ripened mind stream to liberation. And 3. Bringing the liberated mind stream to completion as Buddhahood. Each level of practice has its own set of skillful means. The first set of practices refines the mind stream as a suitable vessel for the direct experience of awakened awareness. The second set of practices introduces the method for the actual experience of awakening, which at first is often unstable. Additional practices enable the development of that awakened awareness up to the point that it manifests in experience in a continuous manner, both during formal meditation sessions and also outside of formal meditation sessions in everyday life. That stage marks the beginning of an automatic process wherein all occurrences of mind automatically release themselves, leaving no karmic trace. This process is called self-liberation, or Rang Grol. The third set of practices develops that awakening to the completion of the path as Buddhahood. In this Khrid system, there are 15 sessions, each representing a unique skillful means. The first 4 sessions are practices designed to ripen the mind stream. Sessions 5 to 10 bring the ripened mind stream to liberation. Sessions 11 to 15 develop liberation into full Buddhahood. Ripening the unripened mind stream. The preliminary practices are designed to ripen the unripened mind stream or build the vessel. According to the commentary, the initial practice, the meditation on impermanence, serves 2 purposes. 1. Leaving aside everyday activities and attachments, and 2. Realigning the student's stance. Meditating on the impermanence of everything in this lifetime and ultimately reflecting on one's own death, if done effectively, results in a progressive disaffection with everyday preoccupations and attachments, and increases the longing for spiritual development according to the teachings given. The preliminary practices are thus designed to build the vessel, that is, restructure the student's unfolding mind stream. Studying the biographies of great masters further helps develop the student's belief about what is possible. Learning about the lineage helps convey the preciousness of the heart-to-heart transmission of these teachings. Generating bodhicitta establishes the foundation for compassion and serving the welfare of others. Taking refuge establishes the foundation of trust, admiration, and respect. The progressive development of trust, admiration, and respect then greatly increases influence from the Buddha fields that furthermore ripens the mind stream. Confession of negative deeds is the basis for purifying one's own mind stream. Regular practice reduces the karmic unfolding of impure or negative states of mind in the everyday mind stream. Making the mandala offering develops virtue practice and causes the accumulation of positive habitual karmic tendencies, commonly known as the 2 accumulations of merit, namely the accumulation of positive karmic tendencies that develop wisdom and develop compassion. In addition to the mandala offering, virtue practice entails practicing the 10 perfections and practicing virtue according to the 3 gates, body, speech, and mind. Virtue practice develops an array of positive qualities of mind. These positive qualities promote and support spiritual development. Overall, this set of practices slowly shifts the ratio of impure negative to pure positive states of mind. Guru Yoga completes the set of preliminary practices. The student visualizes the Lama and assembly offering the gift ways of influence. Guru Yoga is this skillful means, as the commentary says, to participate in the influence of the gift waves. Guru Yoga is the mechanism by which the view of the real nature of the mind is directly integrated into the student's mind stream, and through which the student's mind stream is refined as a suitable vessel to manifest the realizations, like refining iron or ore into iron, or churning milk into butter, as the root text says. The preliminary practices complete the process of building the mind stream as a suitable vessel. Various signs occur when the mind stream ripens in the right way in accordance with the teachings. Bringing the ripened mind stream to liberation. The actual foundational practices include 6 different sets of skillful means. 1. Concentration with attributes. 2. Concentration without attributes. 3. pointing out the natural state. 4. Recognizing self-occurring primordial wisdom. 5. Casting off stains. And 6. Bringing stainless primordial wisdom to the path by mixing practice. These foundational practices are the skillful means to practice the meditation. It is to put it into practice through direct meditative experience. Meditation becomes the method to look into the mind and establish its real nature through direct experience. Through developing the body posture and gaze and training meditation, concentration with attributes stabilizes the capacity to stay on whatever the concentration object may be, relatively free of distraction, while significantly reducing getting lost in ordinary conceptual thought elaboration. Concentration tames the mind and establishes a state of uninterrupted concentration called concentrated evenness. Concentration without attributes builds upon the foundation of stability to develop the natural state of the mind, namely the natural state wherein awakened awareness is most likely to be recognized. Here, once relatively free of conceptual thought elaborations, the lion's gaze and mixing awareness and the sky are the special instructions to look directly into the face of awareness so as to recognize the lucidity, brightness, intensity, and awakeness of awakened awareness that is always right here in the immediate experience of one's mind stream. The next session, pointing out the natural state, builds on the foundation of concentration without attributes, in that it uses pointing out instructions to explicitly tell the student how to look into the mind so as to recognize awakened awareness. Once recognized, the net of the conceptual mind that ordinarily obscures awakening is torn apart, and awakened awareness is easier to recognize thereafter, much like realizing that the sun has always been shining after the clouds clear away. The 8th session involves meditation on the central channel and vase breathing. According to Dzogchen, the liveliness of primordial wisdom is best directly realized in the energy channels through the lively activity of the winds and energy drops. Central channel-based yogic exercises and visualizations are the quickest means, if done correctly and safely, for the direct realization of primordial wisdom as liveliness and its capacity to generate self-occurring appearance, the magical display of the illusory world of appearance. Such practices greatly refines the realization of awakened awareness so as to enhance its lucidity, like throwing wood on top of a fire to cause it to blaze. Session 9 is a set of instructions designed to stabilize the realization of awakened awareness until it becomes a continuous flow of awakened awareness at all times and all situations, so that meditation sessions are no longer necessary to maintain awakening because it has become automatic. At first, the realization of awakened awareness is unstable. Therefore, the meditator must set up the right conditions in meditation with a foundation of concentrated evenness and the right view, lion's gaze or space gazing, so as to establish awakened awareness as the basis more frequently and for a longer duration. After some skills develops, the practitioner progressively lets go of needing to do anything until simply remaining continuously undistracted from awakened awareness and letting everything be is the practice. Ultimately, awakened awareness, as a property of primordial wisdom, maintains itself to itself by itself, and sustaining awakened awareness at all times and all situations becomes automatic. That sets the stage for mixing awakened awareness into everyday activities outside of formal meditation sessions. Session 10 is a set of systematically structured meditations designed to mix awakened awareness into pure, neutral, and impure activities of both speech and mind, and eventually to mix awakened awareness into the most difficult of everyday life circumstances and emotions, such as when angry, when conversing with others, or when thinking. At this point, sustaining awakening has become automatic at all times and situations. This automatic process brings the practitioner to the threshold of liberation. From liberation to completion as Buddhahood. The third broad domain of practice starts from the beginning of liberation up to reaching the end of the path, namely enlightenment. In this Khrid system, 4 sessions are used to complete the path. The first session, session 11, is on sleep and dream yoga, designed to subdue the habitual karmic propensities during the night. According to the Bond theory of mind, dream activity represents the time when habitual karmic traces are most active. The skilled practitioner learns to sustain the continuity of awakened awareness right into deep sleep and dreaming sleep. With respect to dreaming, the skilled practitioner learns to become awake throughout dreaming without physically waking up from dreaming. In the West, a comparable practice is called lucid dreaming, but the main difference is that the Khrid practice entails maintaining awakened awareness, not ordinary awareness during dreaming. As a way of breaking down limiting beliefs about the nature of reality, and also as a way of developing mastery over the very process of karmic ripening itself, the more advanced dream yoga practices, mastery, entail voluntary control over the content of the dream, notably by practicing seemingly impossible special feats like leaping into fire, walking through walls, etc., and multiplying, emanating multiple copies of body and mind in different realms. These practices become a way of mastering all deluded appearances. To deepen the realization of primordial wisdom, sessions 12 and 13 pertain to practicing the view of liveliness. Specifically, the skilled practitioner views the activity of all perceptions, sight, sound, taste, smell, and touch, as a continuous display of the liveliness of primordial wisdom, until he or she develops a continuous, uninterrupted view of the liveliness of the magical display of perception. In this process, seemingly external perception loses its substantiality, and all appearances are brought into the path as liveliness. Likewise, all seemingly ordinary thought is viewed as liveliness. As a result, it becomes impossible for ordinary conceptual thought to ever obscure primordial wisdom's awakened awareness. Once the practitioner attains continuous, uninterrupted liveliness, he or she looks more carefully at the manner of arising of mental events, and in a way that's everything, moment by moment, arises by itself and follows its own course. When there is no mental engagement, moment by moment, whatever arises by itself is immediately liberated by itself. Through this view, associated with liberation, whatever arises is experienced as self-arising, self-liberated. There is an automatic, uninterrupted process by which all mental events arise and release themselves, leaving no karmic trace, like writing in water, or like snowflakes falling into the ocean of universal ground. This process releases the entire storehouse of previously stored karmic impressions over time. The process of Dharma Dhatu exhaustion is completed as the stainless mind that has no impure or negative states whatsoever, and manifests all the positive qualities of a realized mind. This automatic process refines the development of liberation from all mind states and appearances until it goes on automatically. Based on what has developed, the last session, session 14, is called continuous pointing out, because the rest of the path is fairly automatic and is based on full mastery of the mind. Primordial wisdom's innate intelligence is such that, at this point, the path shows itself to itself by itself. The essential Pith instruction is to directly know the mind's limitless until directly opening the scope of mind beyond the bubble of seeming external reality to the direct realization that all the Buddha fields, all realms and times, are spontaneously present all at once and always right here. Through this process, the skilled practitioner experiences the fruition, enlightenment, as holding its own place, that is, at always having been here as the innate potential of each mind stream. At this point, in practice, three changes occur. First, the distinction between formal meditation sessions and practice the rest of time outside of formal meditation sessions collapses. So the practitioner embodies staying uninterruptedly in a state of one-pointedness on the view of ultimate reality at all times. In this way, the view has become meditation. A meditation has become conduct, so that living the realization in conduct now becomes the best manifestation of the realization. Once this process has become complete, automatic subduing of the mind stream's habitual tendencies, and there is never separation from the basis, the skilled practitioner has attained full mastery as heroic state meditation. Lastly comes mastery meditation. Here, all subject-object duality is eradicated, including the distinction between a meditator and something to meditate upon. The meditator is freed from the progression of states. Now, the realization manifests primarily as conduct for the welfare of others. Mastery meditation is described in the commentary as establishing the threshold for passing from samsara, and the commentary lists a variety of extraordinary signs that this passing has occurred, such as transcending all bodily outflows. Fruition entails three final developments that bring the path to completion. 1. The realization of the threefold embodiment of enlightenment. 2. Full development of the 5 primordial wisdoms. And 3. Enlightened activity. The direct realization of the threefold embodiment of enlightenment is the full, direct realization and a manifestation in the mind stream of enlightenment. Dharmakaya is the direct, full manifestation of the universal ground as its empty, rootless, space-like vast expanse with no location and no reference point. The completion body, Sambhogakaya, is the lucid, awake liveliness of primordial wisdom and the manifestation of the pure Buddha fields. The many emanation bodies, Nirmanakayas, represent the infinite magical displays for the sake of compassion and wisdom. The fruition of practice is therefore making a decisive determination of the threefold embodiment of enlightenment, manifesting directly and permanently in the mind stream. The realization of primordial wisdom is brought to completion as primordial wisdom becomes an unceasing, proliferating unfolding of its lively, miraculous display, so that everything arises is the same miraculous display. Finally, conduct comes to completion as enlightened activity, wherein the realized being acts inexhaustibly for the welfare of others, so that whatever is done for the welfare of others, and sentient beings are guided along by the great scope of a realized being. This is the fruition of great compassion. And the fruition of being wise about skillful means is to know what methods to use for what individual according to their capacity. Enlightened activity is guided by omniscience, so that there is nothing whatsoever that is not known, not directly clear, or not directly aware. For those who do not attain Buddhahood in this lifetime, but who are skilled practitioners, an additional session on consciousness transference, 15, has been added to increase the likelihood of realizing Buddhahood during the dying process. The unique features of a Khrid Great Completion meditation. A unique feature of the 15th session, a Khrid Great Completion, is its organization into a step-by-step lesson plan from the very beginning of the practice to manifestation of full enlightenment. What originated as an 80-session manual was eventually streamlined and condensed into the 15 most important areas to address in Great Completion meditation. The commentary says that these teachings are the distilled essence and confluence of all the teachings. For beginners, the recommended time for each session was 1 to 2 weeks, with some sessions, like the sleep and dream yoga, taking longer. However, it is expected that serious practitioners go into an uninterrupted meditation retreat until they master the system. Progress along the Khrid path is best described in the commentary as a single-minded pursuit of awakening. The unique feature of the Khrid system is its quickness. As previously described, the commentary calls it a method to cut to the root by using very intense methods. Yet, its swiftness is not at the expense of comprehensiveness. The root text says that these instructions touch every aspect of the practice. The Khrid system uses a traditional organization of preliminary, actual, foundational, and concluding practices. The preliminary practices are designed to transform the practitioner's dysfunctional ordinary mind into a suitable vessel within which the nectar of the precious teachings will be poured. The practice begins with gift waves of influence from the Lama and lineage holders. Such non-ordinary beings are said to be able to intervene directly in the practitioner's unfolding mind stream in two ways. First, to activate all the positive qualities of mind that potentiate spiritual progress along the path, and secondly, to eradicate negative states and obscurations that would otherwise interfere with spiritual progress. More importantly, gift waves of influence by a non-ordinary being also activate the practitioner's innate Buddha nature and introduce the view into the mind stream of the practitioner. Pointing out instructions introduce the essential teachings about the natural state of the mind and how, while operating out of this natural state, awakening comes about through the right kind of pointing out instruction. Some pointing out teachings are remarkably simple, yet not obvious. Without these precious keys, the path to awakening is not at all apparent to most practitioners. The Lama supplies the precious key instructions that, when in the right state of mind, namely the natural state, the likelihood of the practitioner awakening is high. Furthermore, the Lama supplies the key instructions that bring about the refinement of this initial awakening until the practitioner reaches full Bon enlightenment. The preliminary practices in this Khrid text have some unique features. First, there is no section in the text on emptiness meditation per se. In this text, impermanence is the gateway to emptiness of self, so the first session is on impermanence. That meditation culminates in impermanence of self through death. In other words, emptiness of self is built into the meditation on impermanence. So there is no further need explicitly to address the seeming independent self-existence of the self. Traditional preliminary practices, such as confession, are designed to eradicate negative states, and mandala offerings develop positive states, both of which build the ordinary mind into a suitable vessel for the teachings. More importantly, the preliminary practice of Guru Yoga takes on enormous significance in the Khrid system, because Guru Yoga implants the correct view that will eventually ripen into the final realization of Buddhahood. From another perspective, Guru Yoga is said to activate the practitioner's innate Buddha nature so that the practitioner realizes that his/her own Buddha nature is inseparable from the enlightened mind of the lineage holders. The concentration instructions are unique in their selection of concentration objects. During the training of concentration with attributes, a visual concentration object, the Tibetan letter A, is used. Since A symbolizes the ultimate state, every moment of concentration practice is a reminder of the final realization. During concentration without attributes, the practitioner uses the gaze of the Mahasattvas, namely staring straight past the tip of the nose into the surrounding space. The meditative experience of this space is used to introduce the space-like quality of empty awareness. Then, further concentration training leads to a state of concentrated evenness that is relatively free of thought elaboration. This state of non-conceptual stillness, while continuing to stare into the surrounding space, is used as the state in which the Lama points out the real nature of the mind. These pointing out instructions emphasize the lucid, intense, awake qualities of awakened awareness that is always right here. A practitioner who manifests this natural state will not allow conceptualization to get in the way. Therefore, the Lama can give the pointing out instructions that will likely lead to direct experience of awakened awareness without any risk that the practitioner will try to conceptualize this awakening. The natural state is a prerequisite state to receiving the special instructions to open to awakening. In this Khrid system, the stillness of concentration is the prerequisite to getting the instructions about the natural state, and the natural state is the prerequisite to the instructions for awakening. A strong emphasis of this Khrid system is the use of a variety of very explicit, skillful means to stabilize and develop the recognition of awakened awareness. The source of awakened awareness is primordial wisdom. The liveliness of primordial wisdom is most directly observed in the activity of the winds and the location of the channels. A very quick way to develop recognition of awakened awareness is through direct observation of the liveliness of primordial wisdom and the central channel via the activity of the winds and energy drops. Therefore, in session 8, the Khrid system uses a special set of instructions based on meditations focused on the central channel to increase the lucidity and brightness of awakened awareness, so that recognizing the lucidity of awakened awareness becomes more transparent. There is a detailed explanation of the subtle, ordinary mind cognitive activity required to set up the correct view leading to recognition of awakened awareness, and how that cognitive activity changes over time as awakening becomes more stable and automatic in session 9. These are essentially very detailed non-meditation instructions, which progress from active setting up to dismantling the residual ordinary mind and conceptualization, to cultivating the continuous automatic flow of awakened awareness. Chapter 10. So that the practitioner who learns to operate out of awakened awareness during formal meditation practice can immediately take the realization of the meditation cushion and mix operating out of awakened awareness into daily life situations. This automatic process marks the beginning of the path of self-liberation. There is also a detailed account of how to extend awakened awareness into deep sleep and dreaming so as to develop awakening continuously across waking, sleep, and dreaming. Session 11. These dream-related practices refine the process of self-liberation from habitual karmic tendencies, which tend to ripen most vigorously in dream states. Next, there are precious instructions to view seemingly external perceptions, sights, sounds, sensations, smells, and taste, and seemingly internal thoughts as none other than the liveliness of primordial wisdom expressing itself to itself. The result is that whatever arises is left in its own way without mental engagement, arises in and by itself, is liberated in and by itself automatically. In other systems, this process is called dharmadhatu exhaustion, a process by which all negative, impure states of mind are eradicated and only the original purity of the mind remains. The commentary adds further detail as to how to use everything along the path to enhance the realization of awakened awareness and its liveliness, such as using one's living situation, friendships, favorable and unfavorable conditions, and the 5 elements to enhance the realization. The great strength of the Khrid system lies in the considerable detail devoted to developing and cultivating awakened awareness from a brief momentary state to a continuous uninterrupted state of being, and then to activate an automatic unfolding of liberation ending in enlightenment. The next to last chapter, session 14, gives explicit instruction on limitlessness that lend to how to manifest the threefold embodiment of enlightenment, realize the primordial wisdoms, and to manifest the enlightened activities of a fully enlightened being for the benefit of others. The commentary explains in greater detail what it is like to live in continuous, automatic, heroic state meditation, develop full mastery meditation that transcends the two truths, and reach the end as Buddhahood with a manifestation of the threefold embodiment of enlightenment, the 5 primordial wisdoms, and the inexhaustible enlightened activity of a realized Buddha for the welfare of all beings.